Oh, hello. Didn't see you there. Welcome back to another episode of Training with Theo, with me, Theo. So I was just at my gym, had a nice upper body workout, probably have a nice little pump for the video too. And yes, this episode will be the first one that's a little shorter because it's gonna be easier for me to do from now on. I think I've laid out a nice foundation with longer videos about getting started with training, building muscle and losing fat. So I'm just gonna drop these shorter episodes on the subjects that I've been thinking about lately, and something I've been thinking a lot about since basically this year, 2020 started, is how much muscle can you build naturally without steroids or other performance enhancing drugs? Because I always find these subjects that are so hard to just get a satisfying answer when you search for it. Like some stuff, if you wonder something, you can just ask Google and then you know it 10 seconds later. But you'll never Google how much muscle can you put on naturally and get a satisfying answer. So just gonna share what I've concluded about it. So on the one hand, you have all these like physique workers, so to say, people that use their body in their work. So it can be fitness models, bodybuilders, actors and stuff like that, that they kind of have to lie about, or they feel like they have to in some cases, but almost have to lie to not get fired from an acting job, or maybe fired from some sponsorship with a supplement company and stuff like that. So I'm not passing judgment. I actually, I'm in a way grateful that some people take steroids so we just can see what the human body can look like with some help. But so no judgment, but it's a bit annoying for us that plan on training naturally that it's so hard because of these people having to lie about taking stuff. It kind of muddies up the waters. It's hard to get a clear picture of what is actually attainable naturally. Lots of like normal people, people who aren't really into training hard and building muscle and stuff. Lots of people I've noticed think that people that in my eyes are obviously on steroids, people think could gain that naturally. Even bodybuilders, like people will think that bodybuilders from the 60s and 70s didn't take drugs, but come on, maybe they had less stuff, yes, back then, but steroids has been around since at least the 30s. So on the one hand you have naive people that think that obviously roided up bodybuilders are natural, but on the other hand you have these people that think nothing can be achieved without drugs. They're so black-pilled on the subject of building muscle, and maybe these are some poor suckers, that kind of drew the shortest straw in the genetic lottery, but also maybe they just don't train hard and just want to blame their lack of gains on something else than themselves. But like there's this site, nattyornot.com, like the guy running it does good reviews of different fitness people, like going through reasons to think that they are natural or not. But he's so black-pilled and he has no belief. It's like he think you can put on any muscle at all, almost. Like according to a chart he made with lengths and the weight that is supposedly your natural limit without steroids. Like according to that chart, I'm basically at my genetic limit within only almost exactly 1.5 years of training. And that's just ridiculous. So according to this guy, if I start making some extra gains beyond this point, I'm most likely on steroids. And that's just, that's ridiculous to me. So, what is the truth in all of this? My conclusions from my own experience, from talking to other people in real life who train, who following YouTubers and different personalities in social media. My conclusion is I think Martin Birken, I'm not sure how his name is pronounced, it's kind of funny, he's a Swede but it's not really a Swedish name, but he made this formula that I think is pretty accurate, and it's basically you take your height in centimeters and remove 100, and the number you have there is your weight in kilos at 5% body fat at your highest potential. So in my case, it would be I'm 176 centimeters, so we remove 100, and so if I train and reach my natural potential and shred down to 5% body fat, my weight should be 76 kilos, and I think that's pretty damn accurate. I'm right now 75 kilos, absolutely not at 5% body fat, maybe 10% body fat or so, but it seems likely to me. And I made maybe this first 1.5 year, my estimate is that I added about 7 to 8 kilos of muscle, and I think that's really good. That's really good, I think. And remember, I probably have above average genetics, and also I couldn't have put more effort into getting stronger and more muscular, you know. So, because when you Google for how much you should be able to gain naturally, you'll get these weird articles. I don't know who wrote them. I've seen claims that on your first year of training, you should be able to add somewhere around 30 pounds of muscle, like 13 kilos of muscle. And the second year, you should be able to add 15 to 20 pounds of muscle. Like, this is amazing numbers. This, without steroids, you'd have to be like a genetic outlier, 1 in a million, probably 1 in 10 millions to reach those numbers. Or if you came like right out of a concentration camp and had been in starvation mode and lost almost all your muscle, maybe those numbers would be possible. But it's just ridiculous. These articles, they'll make people who make great progress feel like they're losers, like they've made bad progress. But yeah, if you can add like 15 pounds of muscle in your first year of training, that is a great result, And from my own experience, like the first year, like the gains just happened. Like, of course I trained hard, but I could see it so consistently, like all over, very proportionally, just everything growing. And now this last half year, I've still made gains, but it's a lot slower, and I train harder now, if anything. So I think as naturals, we just gotta accept that there's a limit that's that might be lower than you think. But when you just hear the numbers, but when you see someone, if you see someone weighing 76 kilos at 5% body fat, I mean, most of us don't even want to have 5% body fat. I don't. I think just below 10 is a nice number to be at. But so, you know, it's not all about the numbers, but also I think as naturals we just gotta accept the fact that after those newbie gains that you hear about, that, you know, the gains that happen quicker when you're not used to training and get a great response from it, when that phase is over, it's gonna be a grind. Like, if this year, if I can add 2 kilos of muscle, I'll be really happy. Be really happy with my progress. And the year after that, I should probably be happy if I can add 1 kilo. And then after that, it's gonna be like polishing, like just those finishing touches, you know. So yeah, I don't have a clear answer, but I think that formula from Martin Berkyan is pretty accurate. He also, something you can note is that he says that it tends, shorter guys tends to hit a bit above that number and taller guys a bit below. So he suggested that maybe shorter guys remove 99 instead of 100, and taller guys 101 instead of 100. It's only 1 kilo, and he had lots of examples like from people he knows that I trust him when go to his site Lean Gains and watch. I trust him when he says he said, like, I only know a handful of people that I truly know are natural, and yeah. And he takes them as examples and some clients he's had. So I think that's something to go by. And the bodybuilder, because in everything, you know, we have drug tested powerlifting and bodybuilding competitions and not drug tested, and even in the drug tested competitions, you know, people cheat, so you can never be sure. But the one natural bodybuilder, or claiming to be natural, that I've found that I deem most likely to actually be natural, his name is Brian Whittaker, and in the off season he goes up to as like 85 kilos at the highest, and when he's 5% the body fat shredded, on state contest stage, he's 75 kilos, and he's the same height as me. So, you know, I think that's pretty accurate. And maybe, to be honest, I mean, I'm probably gonna show a picture here. He might even get down lower than 5% body fat. Like he basically doesn't have any skin. But yeah, not very linear, just throwing out my thoughts on the subject. I think as naturals also, it's fun to build muscle and everything, but I think we have to make our training, because building muscle is absolutely one of my goals. It's not the priority number one, but when some other criteria are fulfilled, you know, building muscle, it has to happen. It's just not priority number one. So I think it's interesting to know stuff like this. But yeah, it's fun to build muscle, but I think us naturals need to, you know, make our training about other stuff, like just personal development, not only muscle growth, but, you know, growth as a person, challenging yourself, getting stronger and tougher. So yes, that was all for this episode. So, you know, like, subscribe. Very weird transition to this part, but yeah, see you around, folks.